Um, I wanted to do a little bit of I was doing some testing arc angles and stuff with a mate. Trying to find a bunch of free knowledge that you can get off of checking your arc while in a game. So, for instance, if you check your arc for an attack, you can have a look at positioning wise and say, hey, if I do this, this is where I'm going to land there. And gives you a little bit of free information. So, basically, just discussing all the free information you can get from a match from on TTS. And this also kind of translates into real life play as well, but you will have to remember that everyone's templates are different. There is no perfect templates because the original templates that were perfect are cardboard and they warp. The new templates are plastic and could be based off of a warp template or have warped themselves, or maybe just cut wrongly, or it didn't actually use the maybe there was some inconsistency in the laser cutter or whatever machine made it. So this can be applicable to real life, playing in person, but specifically on a table. So I'm going to cough real quick and pause the video. For some reason today, after being sick 2 weeks ago, on Tuesday, exactly 2 weeks ago, so one whole week, and then, Monday, 2 weeks ago from now, I was sick, so still got a cough and some stuff, so that's really fun. But basically, I showed that list for that little Word document I had there for a second, but I'll actually go through it. So, for starters, in an actual game, just in session, in round zero, you have so much information up your sleeves. So, some key things that we need to talk about before we actually get into that is ranges and equivalents on these. Because one big one is that a 5 straight is almost perfectly the same as a range 2 ruler. So now you know that if you start your base exactly at range 1 here, if you do a 5 straight, your base is landing just past that, like so, for a small base. Or even further away with a large base like Dengar or Ketsu, because Ketsu's the only one who 5 straights. But there you go. A little bit of knowledge. So, immediately, off of this turn 0, before we even start placing rocks, we know that that's a 5 straight, right? So that means on a small base, a 4 straight, pardon me, I'm coughing, perfectly puts you at that range 2. We know that a 3 straight on a large base, I'll put on this side, perfectly puts you at that range 2, because again, a large base is two ones wide. Does that make sense? A 2 straight. The small base is a 1 straight, and a large base is a 2 straight. I don't know why that actually dropped for once, because it hasn't been working the rest of the game. So immediately we know that information for free. So we know off turn 0, if you 4 straight a small ship, you land here. If you 3 straight a large ship, you land there. If you 5 straight a large ship, you land just beyond it by 2. And if you 5 straight a small ship, you land here. So this is really important if you're flying 2 different bases and trying to fly them in a formation. It's really good for understanding where you're going to be landing off your maneuvers. A lot of the time, I do a maneuver and like subconsciously range control it. But this is the way you can actually range control it properly. Sorry, man, I'm coughing. So going off that, we now know that for turn 0 specifically, if we place a rock here and keep it within that boundary, if we put it exactly there, right? If we did a 3 straight on our large base, we land, and we're all the way forward at the start, we land here. So we know we're directly in line with that rock. So that's some really good measurements. Another little bit of measurement is, like I said, the 4 straight lands you there. And then from here, we know that, hey, if we want to bank, we're going to land at about this spot here, right? A 1 bank. If we want a 3 bank, we land a little bit further. But then you can also, because you can technically do this, you're allowed to check your arc in the engagement phase. So you can say, even if there's no shots, you know for a fact there's no shots, you can say, oh, yep, just double checking a shot. Yep, no one's in range. Have a look at this. Oh, look, that's where our arc is. How do we judge that? Well, a large base ship always lands inside of that arc with a slight maneuver, a bank maneuver. I call them banks, a slight maneuver. So, for example, if we do a 3 bank, we will land here, relative to our arc, just a little bit out. If we do a 1 bank, we land very, very, very close to the arc, like this. There's barely any give there. If you use M for magnify, barely any give. Is it Alt that does that? That's not what I want. But yeah, barely any give. So you can use this really well to help position yourself while you do a maneuver for the next turn. Obviously, if there's a rock like directly opposite you at range 2, you want to do a 2-bank. So if there's a rock here, right? Like so, you definitely want a 2-bank to land in there. If there was a rock like here, you definitely want a 1-bank because that's a little bit nicer for you. If I find that. It's a little bit nicer for you. You can still get your base pass there. And then remember, using the knowledge we've just talked about, we can have a look at our arc and say, hey, look, if we do a 3 straight, our front of our base is going to land here, so we might just clip that. Because the back of our base lands just before the end of that for a 5 straight. Can I just drop that on? Is that going to work? Not a 5 straight, 3 straight, my bad. Very close. But again, like you can use your arc, make notes about where your ship's going to land, have an idea of what's happening. There is conveniently, I actually don't have mine up, but there is a notes section in this bottom right. I don't know if you can actually play with it. This one, edit notes. There we go. You can edit notes, delete it all, and then you can even say, hey, Ketsu, rock, just over 1 from Ketsu. Boom. And you can even say, hey, turn 2, rock just over range 1 from Ketsu. You could also have a second monitor for Word document, or you could even bring up a Word document and type it in. You can do a lot of stuff to help you know that. Conversely, if you did not know that you could get rid of those really annoying edit note that's there every single game, it does pay tribute to the person who made this mod, and I'm very grateful for them, but it really annoys me playing. If you press escape, configuration, interface, you can turn off top menu, player names, notes, tools, chat. Obviously keep chat open. But you can turn off whatever you want and it just doesn't appear for you. So that's really useful. But yeah, so you can get so much little information like that from just measuring your arc, right? Another thing where you can get information from, this one's really good, is actually your objectives. So in a game, right, you always have your center objective. If you're playing any objective where you place it down, you can keep this as reference. You can say, hey, you know, I'm a, what do you call it? I am a large base ship, right? Let's just say I want to keep this point here as my reference, right? This little line here. So that's going to be range 4 away from me. I can grab my first objective, place it on my side of the field, keep it exactly range 2, because I like doing that. So that way it is like so, almost exactly range 2 away. This way it's a little bit different. Well, it is still almost exactly range 2. But now you know, hey, this objective marks this point here. This marks a range 2. So I know for a fact that my Ketsu can 3 straight. And then if that's range 1 away, or just over 1 away from me, if I want to do a 1 straight, I'll land about here, I think it is. About at that objective, is that right? I'm kind of making this up on the fly because I didn't actually think about this one earlier. Oh look, a 1 straight almost perfectly puts me at that point there. Nice. That sort of thing, yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you can do that. But I like setting up objectives exactly 2 away from each other, like so. Because then this gives me a reference later in the game. Because later in the game, I know, hey, that's a range 2. That means that is equal to a 5 straight. That means I know for a fact that if I'm landing here, my arc's gonna end over here. This is how far I have to shoot. From this point here, from this position here, I know I can shoot this far out. Hey, I'm playing a Fang fighter. I want to make sure they're in range 1. If I land just in the center here and I'm like, oh, that looks like it could be range 1, looks like it can't, I know I should boost, that sort of thing. So keeping little bits of information like that up your sleeve. And obviously you don't mention it when you're playing a game, but you can. But like when you're placing the objective, right? You know, I can't put it within range 2. Boom, range 2. Hey, if I land here, I know that's range 2. Hey, if I rush up the board and one hard my Cynthia, I know for a fact that range 2 is that far, so I'm not going to have a lot more give there. So I know about, or like, I mean, you can use this here, but you know, hey, range 3 is going to be almost at that objective, because if that's a 2, that's probably a 3 there. You can use a little bit of knowledge. It takes, yeah, I don't know. How do you explain it? Like, I think I'm saying this badly, but like, it's little things like that once you learn, you'll subconsciously know about. So, especially this, I think especially for large base ships, specifically Ketsu, this is really important measurement, because she has a 5k, she has a, and anyone for 5k, right? So any ship for 5k, really important measurement is that one. Any ship where you want to get as far as you can, you know that, hey, if I do a 5 straight with a small base, I know it's going to land just beyond that one. A 1 from my range 2 marker. So you can pick up little things like that. So I had a game the other day where I really wish I'd checked the arc properly, because I was basically sitting like this, right? And I was like, okay, I didn't check my arc. I don't know if I'm able to 5k. Looking at the arc now, hey, you easily fit that. Same as if they were there, you know, hey, their back of their base is at range 3, so I definitely can't land it. And then this one, you have to be like, okay, is the nubs in there? Maybe, maybe not. But you also don't want to, if you are using these to figure out how to play the game, you don't really want to let your opponent know that's what you're doing. But maybe you just take a second and you just go, oh, I'm just thinking about something. And you just like have a look for a second and then make a note on paper or something like that. But you get a lot of knowledge from these maneuvers. I discussed it earlier, but I remember watching one of the World Championships, and there was a guy playing Captain Jendon in the... Colonel Jendon? Whatever. Jendon Defender. And he would check his bullseye, his proton cannon bullseye, even when there was no one in there, and perfectly have a look. Hey, I'm checking my bullseye. That's range 2. That's my 4K. That's exactly where the end of my base is going to land. I have this knowledge in my head. Because that is also important for 4Ks and stuff, is that range 2 is your... I'm pretty sure it's your base, right? For 4? Yeah. Because if that's a 4 straight, and then you have your base, you know, hey, I'm ending, the back of my ship is going to be there. So you have all this little itty bits of knowledge that you can use down the line. Same as... another thing, which I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty positive in the rules docs, you are not allowed to measure beyond range 1 for setting up your ships. But TTS has that. TTS has that. So, on these side ones here, you get so much knowledge from that, right? Because you know, hey, at the start of the game, hey, if I place my Dengar here, and he does a 3 straight, I'm going to land perfectly here. So, hey, I know that. Hey, that's really useful. Same as if you have a small base ship. Hey, I'm going to 5 straight. Oh, I've landed there now. What? You know exactly. You on TTS, you know exactly that positioning at the start of the game. Like, I know it's not really important, but it is important, right? Because now you can say, if you play TTS enough, you know, hey, if I 4 straight, my ship is just going to be at this yellow charge marker. Yeah. And then if I do another 5 straight, like, I'm not saying you should do this, because I don't know, it's a little bit weird, but, you know, if you do another 5 straight, hey, I know if I do another 5 straight, my base is going to be almost at that fuse marker. Oh, like, that's a little bit of a tricky thing, and I don't think you should do that. I don't actually do that. Sometimes I have a look at this, and I go, okay, cool, well, if this is my ship, if this is the back of my ship here, where's it going to land? Go over. And then you say, oh yeah, it's a 4 straight sort of thing. But yeah, like you can do that. It's on TTS. It's a little bit iffy. This is a little bit iffy. This is where you get to the part where it's like, okay, should I do that or should I not do it? Using this, you shouldn't, but it's there. It's free info. Same as checking an arc. Hey, your list is all the way over there, but I'm over here. Hey, Cynthia, where's my 5 straight gonna land me? Oh, okay, cool, it's there. Like, you're allowed to check that in the engagement phase at the right times. Anything that says you may check arc. Same as Lima Kai. If you are not in any enemy ship's forward arc and You can check every ship's forward arc during that phase. Like, obviously, you don't spend a lot of time on it, but you're allowed to pull them up if you have a reasonable suspicion. Like, there's abilities that work off of your arc. Same as another thing that's actually a little bit dirty is Ketsu. Ketsu's ability says, actually, let me grab it up. Yasmi. The start of the engagement phase, pick an enemy ship at 0 to 1 in your front arc. So that's another thing about playing on PC versus playing in real life, playing on computer. When a ship says in both your front and rotating arc at 0 to 1, if you do a games on tractor token, that means anytime you want to use that, you can pull up your arc. You can leave it up. You can say, hey, there's one ship in range. Oh, look, now I've got all this information in front of me. Wow. Oh, who would have thought? Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'll check my arc for range 1. You see like 4 ships are in there, but now you know exactly what range of yourself those ships are. And then if you have other ships in the fight, you can go, okay, cool. Well, you know, Dengar's over here. I know that his arc's gonna like just get over here. Like, now I know, hey, reasonably, I can shoot Cynthia here during my engagement, but Dengar probably can't. So then maybe you go, or if there's 2 ships in range, like 2 enemy ships, and you're trying to determine who gets the tractor, you can look at it and be like, okay, well, you know, let's just say, like, you know, the Fen was here. You can say, okay, cool. Well, I know you're just at range 1, and if I barrel roll you, you can leave this up. If I barrel roll you, you're most likely going to be, if I barrel roll backwards, you're probably still going to be range 1, and you're going to be range 1 of Dengar. And then, of course, if you actually do the barrel roll, oh no, you can even decide, hey, let's go forward. Oh look, Dengar's easily got you now. Like, technically with Ketsu's ability, you are only allowed to check range 1, but because you're on TTS, you literally can't. You can't pull up range 1 on the actual arc. You can pull up this, but that's not the information you want. You have to pull up that one. So there's like little bits and pieces of information you can get for free, right? What else? What else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about a couple things. Objectives as well. I'm pretty sure you can measure objectives, and you're allowed to use other templates when placing them. So obviously a lot of people like doing, well, I know someone at my local likes doing, let's chuck the objective at range 3 here, but range 2 here, right? What's stopping you from going, hey, I'm going to place this objective here, and then next turn go, hey, I want to make sure that you can't place your objective anywhere. Let's check range 2 there. If I place this one here, there's no way you can fit an objective here, so I have this open gap to myself. Realistically, there's nothing stopping you from doing that, because it's during setup. You're allowed to check range for stuff, because obviously you have to make sure it's in. Like, if you're in person, you only had a range 3 ruler, then you get to go, hey, oh, look at that. Ooh. Now I know that you can't place anything here. Like, you can only place one here. I have 2 gaps. And I'm pretty sure you are allowed to do that one with obstacles. You're allowed to do it. I think you're allowed to do it with objectives. You're not allowed to go beyond range 1 when measuring your ships. Same as if you are measuring your ships, you're allowed to use stuff to space them out. Because obviously, if you're playing a swarm, if you do this one like this, you almost never hit each other if you go like that. So you are allowed to do that as long as you don't check beyond range 1. But you know, this ruler breaks it. The ruler tells you you're allowed to do that. Same as if someone brings this up to check if someone brings this up for what's his face, Moralo Aval on the sorry, I'm just stepped on something. Moralo Aval in the YV666. This guy here. If you would flee, you can spend you may spend 1 charge. If you do, place yourself in reserve instead. At the start of the next planning phase, place yourself within range 1 of the edge of the play area that you fled from. So I have seen people pull up this template here to show that, right? Now, you get way too much information for that. Because with these ones, you have so much information up your sleeve. Because now you know, if you had a large base, if this was Moralo, you can say, okay, as long as I'm within range 1, I can do it. And now you're saying, okay, well, I'm within range 1 there, but now I know exactly where range 3 is from myself. I can use that knowledge to position myself however I want. Like, it's so much free information you can get from this. Like, obviously, you shouldn't do that. If you're playing Moralo, I really hope that you just grab the range 1 templates. I know it's not necessarily easier, but you're not supposed to... Like, it's not easier, but you're not supposed to bring up that console one because it'll bring up everything and give you so much knowledge. Like, there's so much you can get from that. From that. And then you can also have a look at your other ships, because if I'm bringing up this knowledge for Moralo Aval and saying, hey, that gives me all that. If my ship's here, now I can see, hey, look, Fen's 5 straight puts him there. Hey, look, if Ketsu's currently sitting, if Ketsu's currently sitting here, like, let's say Ketsu's sitting here and debating whether to do a 5k because of this rock here, or like something like that, she can go, hey, look, I can easily fit in there because a 2 and a base. Actually, no, I land on it. Oh no. Like, you get so much information for free, so you shouldn't do that one. You shouldn't do that one for Morale's ability if you play Morale. But yeah, free information, right? Same as when you're playing, if you're playing an objective game with multiple objectives, if you go a cheeky 2, like so, like that one's locked in there, and then you take this one over here, then you know, hey, this is range 2. That is range 2. That is range 2. And if I sit in the center of a large base ship, I did show this in one video, you are now... Just going to use these bombs because they're really easy to show range 1 on. Now you know, hey, I'm at range 1 of all 3 objectives for large base. So that one's a really good one for setup. That's one that I use all the time because in Assault at the Satellite Array, it's really, really useful if you're running large bases or medium bases. Also, medium bases most of the time can get that as well. If you land correctly, it's a little bit tricky. But, you can easily do it, right? Well, you get 2. A small base, I'm pretty sure it's physically impossible for you to get all 3 of them. You can easily get 2 for small base if you do it right. But, yeah. Lots of free info, right? Like, there's so much free info you can get from the game, and you need to be able to use that to your advantage. Check it for maneuvers, check it for knowledge later down the line. Like, really good, really, really good. What else did I want to talk about? I think that was it. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Small ships, because I had this list, yeah. So, big one on large bases, if they have a 1 hard, you all should probably know this, but you rotate, you basically move it to the right on 1 axis, if that makes sense. Where's Dengar's dial? So, a 1 hard will almost perfectly land you there. So, if you're... Let me just lock them in place this time. If you do that... Oh my gosh, man. Thanks, game. If you do that, right, your base is landing like so. Basically like that, right? So even if we just mark this here and lock it in place, just as some knowledge and move, it like almost perfectly rotates on that angle, right? You just move, you stay at the end of your maneuver, I believe it is. The end of where your base was. Actually, bro, move, Dengar, move. I didn't script the spot. I need to get it right. Oh, you actually move. You keep some of your spacing, but like I'm pretty sure you don't lose any space. Yeah. So your base actually like almost rotates on that point there, right? So this point moves up and you go around. So now you know, hey, I'm actually going to. If there's a rock here, probably don't 1 hard because you actually land on it. Or not. Yeah, you would. You would have landed on that. That's actually one I didn't know about. Ooh. My templates are wrong in person, obviously. But yeah. So if there's a rock right beside you like that, you can't actually do that. My gosh, move. Yep. So it would be under you. Wow, interesting. What else did I have? A 3 hard on a large base. If your large base Fuck me, bro. Why am I coughing? If your large base happens over 3 hard like Ketsu, again, this can really help you with Ketsu. A 3 hard moves you almost like just over like a small base diagonally, right? Because if we just place this here to mark the front of our base, right? That's about right. And then move a, like looking at this spot here, you move just over, like just over a base diagonally. So you move just over a base this way and just over a base that way. So that's some knowledge for you. 2 harding's a little bit weirder though. 2 harding, you actually don't move as far as you think. You move like literally the smallest part, right? You move just like 2 centimeters, right? Yeah, you move about 2 centimeters. It's like nothing. Like I said earlier, you have your 5 straights, and your 3 straights. So your 3 straight will land you just at the end of that range 2 mark. Really good for knowledge. Then your 5 straight lands you at the very end of your range 2. So the back of your base is at that range 2 mark. A 1 straight lands you like just a little bit forward, I think. Yeah, that lands you just over your range 1 mark. And then I showed you all the banks land inside. Your first one lands about here, like about like this sort of thing. Your next one lands you about there. The next one about there. Pretty sure it's pretty accurate. A medium base is really interesting. I didn't actually realize this, but a medium base is 1 straight lands you at exactly range 1. Like, look at that. That's a 1 straight from a medium base. You can just see the like tinge of the line there, but that's really interesting to know. That's a really good bit of info that you can have. Where's the right dial, bro? Where's Emon's dial? This one. Oh, I'm lagging. There we go. Some more bit of info on the medium bases. A 2 straight is about range 1.5. Why is my game lagging? Hello? Oh, my mouse just disconnected. Bro. Oh, dumbass mouse, man. Very, very silly. There we go. Like, look, so your 2 straight gets you about halfway through your range 2. That's for the front of your base. Pardon me. What did the 3 straight do? A 4 straight just gets you your front of your base into range 3. Like so. So your front of your base is kind of like a quarter of the way through that range. Is that right? 9 point... Around 9.3 centimeters, so about 2 centimeters. That's not too bad. What can I tell you about this guy? Again with wrong ship. Again with these guys, a medium base always lands inside their arc. All ships land inside their arc. There's no real point saying that. But again, this 1 bank, your front right corner, so the corner you're turning into, lands just within that range 1 band. So that can really help you measure for rocks near you. Like if there was a rock, like so, you're like, hey, as long as it's like just in my arc, I should be fine for 1 bank, a 2 bank, or a 3 bank. If there's a rock like this, then you're a little bit more sketchy about it, and you look at that one and you say, hey, does a 3 bank hit it? Probably not. 3 bank puts the opposite corner's tip at the edge of range 2. So a 3 bank to the right puts your front left corner just almost at that range 2 mark. That one's a little bit weird. And you're about half a base from the edge of your arc line as well. So that will help you with rocks and stuff. A large base ship, it's about the same. What else do I have for that? Nothing. Small bases. I'm going to need Cynthia for this one. Fen Rao, right? So this one for Fen Rao, this is really important for your aces who have blue 2 hards. This is really important. Your 2 hard is almost perfectly one small base diagonal, like so. It's fine. If I move him, he lands almost perfectly one diagonal. We can even grab this one up here to just show you. Because a 1 straight's your base. That looks about, you can use the middle hash to line it up. So you move basically, looking at that, almost perfectly one base across, right? So now you know if there's a rock sitting in this gap here, as long as you think it's one base, you'll be fine. And then again, when we look at the arc for this situation, you land just inside of it, right? So now you know if you do a 2 hard, as long as they aren't in the first half of your arc, you should be fine, right? That's about right. Yeah. This one's really useful for me to judge bases because it's really easy to have your ship. Just destroy all that. Have your ship and have a look at it from above, like so. And like if there's a rock here, it's really easy to have a look like this, rotate and go, hey, look, that's one base here. That's one base. That's one base here, and then that's where you're gonna land, right? And then test that. Oh. What the flip is up? But yeah, you get it, right? Little knowledge. Obviously, with your using your knowledge from your 5 straight with these guys, Sven style here. Using your knowledge for a 5 straight equals range 2. You know a 4 straight will always land you at the end there, like so. You know that a 2 straight puts you at the middle, directly in the center of that range 2 mark. Range 1, sorry. So you're at that range 1 to 2, directly in the center for 2 straight. So that can help you kind of judge it. Then 3 straight. I don't even know if I have anything for a 3 straight. I think you just move. 3 straight. No, sorry. A 3 straight. You're 1 base away from this mark. A 4 straight puts you directly at it. A 5 straight puts you just over it. So you get a little bit of you get some decent knowledge there from just knowing this range 2 mark, right? Anyway, that was basically all of it. But yeah, like you can really easily position objectives once you know how your ship moves in their arcs. You can really easily position objectives to help you with that. So I know for a fact that if I have my Fen all the way forward and about here, if I chuck this at about range 2, a 5 straight boost will put me at a really awkward angle looking directly at it, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that because it's really awkward if I don't. 5 straight and a boost. Yep, puts me exactly looking at it. So I know if I want to do that, if I want to get that boost in, I need to make sure there's a rock in this 1-to-1 corner, and I need to make sure there's nothing in this gap here. Same as I need nothing in line with this here if I want to 3-bank in. Because obviously if I 3-bank into that spot, that's exactly where I land, basically, where that dial is, just in front of it. Yep, so I need to make sure there's nothing in this way here. Because if there was, oh no, we're eating it, or we just barrel roll. If there was something here, obviously you figure that out. Another thing is if there is one in this corner here, this gets me all the time. This one here, I do this to myself all the time, and it's really fucking annoying because I used to do it to myself all the time, and I think I stopped doing it now. You 5 straight and then you boost, right? Forward, your 3 banks blocked, your 2 hards blocked. If you now are trying to get into the fight and you 2 straight boost in, like you 2 straight, if you have to boost, let's just say they've played 1-to-1, they're about here, they're playing 1-to-1, so you have to boost, right? So you need to, with Fen, you need to boost. If you boost, your 2 hards sitting about there, as long as you position yourself in the middle, you should actually be able to 2 hard, but then you might get blocked, and then you might not be able to barrel roll. because maybe they've taken up that spot, so you have to barrel that way, and it's just really awkward. So I really hate that rock being there. I much rather place my rocks on my corners like this. That way I know if I want to, if they're ever going to be a problem, it's if I've gone up the board, gone around, then come back around like so. And like, when are you doing that, right? Unless you're 5 straighting and then do a turnaround, then you come charging down the board, and then it might be a problem there. But putting your rocks, the big rocks that you want to avoid, or the rocks you want to avoid in your corners, are not a bad idea at all. Just gets it out of the way, so you don't have to worry about them realistically later down the line. Another thing I like to do, if you're versing large base ships, right, and they set up this triangle for objectives on assault, immediately, don't even stress about it, put that there as your first rock. That'll stop them from doing the claim all 3 objectives thing, unless they want to sit on the rock. It also stops them from getting in like this and going grabbing 2, grabbing 3, grabbing 1. If you are bringing large base ships, do this, because you know they'll place a rock there, or if they don't, you have an amazing assault. If it's assault of the satellite array, you have that amazing position there. If your ships are fast, when it gets time to place the token on your opponent's side, it could be worth it to chuck it like this. So if I'm running a Boba Fett in the list who's really fast and he doesn't mind picking up a crate, I might just 4 straight boost him, 3 bank, and then claim it. That's not right, is it? It's about 1 base. It's about here, which is a base. Oh, that's about right. I think I did that right. Oh, look at that. I almost got that perfect. Like, obviously, you need to be a little bit back. But, you know, positioning-wise, I kind of almost got that perfect. Even if you went all the way back like you need to, you would still be able to hit that, you know. So that corner there, this is a good one to know, right? Look at that. Perfect. It's exactly what you would need to do if you were running this. 4 straight, boost into a 3 bank, and then you can claim that top objective. So you can know things like that. Same as you know, if you have a rock here, most likely, if it's not a super duper large one, you can land that, right? You know you can land that. If the rock's here though, then you know, hey, if I do that type of thing, it's not going to work. Maybe if I don't boost, I get that nice positioning in there where I could keep going through there. Of course, if there's not a rock, if there's a rock there, you'd probably just here, then you just 2 straight and then boost out or wait for next turn. But yeah. Anyway, this is kind of an awkward video for me because I don't like talking. I'm not good at talking about this stuff, and I'm like telling you to do stuff which are morally, game wise, is questionable. Like, it is information available to you, but like for me, I always feel kind of bad. It's like, oh well, normally you shouldn't know that, right? TTS, like in person, you're never pixel perfect, but in TTS, which is what I'm playing all the time, you can pick up those little tricks, little positioning tricks, little range tricks. Like, there's so much information you can get. Same as like you can like set up an objective like this and know, hey, can you do that actually? Just in range 3. Hey, look, that's range 3, guys. What? Can you believe it? But yeah. Yeah. So it might not really be useful, but you can kind of pause the video now and have a look at this stuff. It's what I've got. There's 100% plenty of other ones. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at my different hard maneuvers on large base ships because most of them only have the 2 hard or a 3 hard or a 1 hard. They could have any of them. But that is some knowledge there. Yeah. Another one I actually should touch on is ranging with the boosting with Fen, right? Boosting, you get so much knowledge off of like just having a look at this, just watching this part here. Is that your monster? That's Fencer. You get so much knowledge off of this. With Fenrir, if you do a bank boost, you move into the next range band on this corner. Almost perfectly, right? So you're just enter that corner there. So if you are in a position where you're sitting there and there's a guy like right here and you're like really worried, you're like, hey, look, I don't know if I can boost into range 1 of him. And you think, okay, it could be range 2, might be range 3. You can boost, and then you know, hey, I think I've just got him range 1. Yeah, just got him range 1. So that positioning there, if I just undo that and then pull that back up. If you think they're just in range 2 and they're at that angle like that, if they're like just to the side of you, you know the boost can land. If they are a little bit further, if you think they're just at range 3, you might be able to quickly squeeze it in, but it's really, really tight, right? It is so tight to try and guess that. So, yeah, that's a little bit of useful information for boosting. Obviously, barrel rolling, you move like half of your, like a little bit, like half of your base, quarter of your base forward. So, you know, whatever, quarter of your base is fine if you need to know. So that put me from range 3 into range 2. So that is something you can know. Same as if you're at range 2 and you don't want to be at range 2, you're playing a really squishy ace who needs to be range 3. Barrel rolling backwards should put you at range 3. Yeah, beautiful. Love it. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Yeah. Some tips and tricks with not obstacles, but understanding how ranging works, how your maneuvers work against range, that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if you enjoyed it, good on you. I feel like I kind of just wasted. I don't know if this is going to be super. It's useful information, but I don't know if anyone's going to actually watch or use it. But hey, it's info. Anyway, catch you guys.